Pitching coach Dave Duncan has been very pleased with what he has seen here in Baltimore. His starters have been solid, the bullpen as well. It's interleague play from Camden Yards and a gorgeous night for baseball. From the American League East Division, the Baltimore Orioles playing host to the NL Central St. Louis Cardinals. With Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to baseball. And this series in particular has been defined by starting pitching.
Yeah, starting pitching is a key to getting back on track with wins for the Cardinals. They certainly struggled the last couple of weeks, but Loesch, Carpenter, and Garcia have all done well of late. Loesch and Carpenter just one run in this series here in Baltimore. We'll see if Jaime Garcia can follow suit.
We'll also see if Colby Rasmus can make history. Find out what we're talking about when you come back and join us on Fox Sports Midwest. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. By Chevy. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers. By Southwest Airlines. New Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. #1 in quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake. Life needs flavor. A future Cardinals star has tonight's starting lineup.
Thanks, Dan. This is Tyler Miller with tonight's Cardinal lineup. Batting first, playing shortstop, is Ryan Theriot. Batting second, playing right field, John Jay. Batting third, playing left field, Matt Holliday. Designated hitter, Lance Berkman, batting fourth. David Freese playing third base and batting fifth. Colby Rasmus playing center field and batting sixth. Yadier Molina batting seventh, playing catcher. Batting eighth, Tony Cruz playing first base. Skip Schumacher playing second, batting ninth. Back to you, Dan.
Very nicely done by Trevor Miller's son, a future star, we hear.
Outstanding.
Whether it be in the broadcast booth or down on the field, but very well done. You saw there the warehouse, very familiar here at Camden Yards. Tony La Russa and the St. Louis Cardinals looking for a sweep here tonight. Reimold, Jones, Markakis in the outfield, Reynolds, Hardy, Andino, and Derek Lee along the infield. The battery tonight, Mattis and Wieters.
And this is a left-hander that's really not performed up to his capabilities. Been slowed by injuries, had an intercostal muscle pull in spring training. Velocity's down in the high 80s. Not really a power thrower anyway. And he really hasn't been very tough on left-handers. They're batting over 370 against him in the limited number of innings he has. So we'll see how the Cardinal lefties fare against Brian Mattis.
Buck Showalter now in his first full season with the Baltimore Orioles. Had quite a turnaround at the end of last season, but struggling now and trying to avoid a sweep as Theriot leads off the game for St. Louis and looks at a strike. Ryan Theriot did not play last night. He was 1 for 5 in game number 1. Batting .291, 1 home run, and he's driven in 27. No balls and 2 strikes. Cardinals head to Tampa Bay after the ball game tonight, and we'll have all 3 games of that series on Fox Sports Midwest.
There's some talk about this left-hander maybe being sent to AAA. He was a 10-game winner last year with Baltimore and really finished up very well the second half. They thought he would be off to a good start, and he wasn't.
That's a good start. Leadoff base hit. Plaza Tire Service replay on the last pitch.
You really don't have to worry about him blowing the ball by you, so you can keep your hands back and kind of adjust to off-speed pitches a lot easier when a pitcher doesn't throw very hard. And this left-hander had a great college career, a lot of strikeouts, but the velocity just hasn't really come at the big league level. that intercostal muscle we're talking about, and sometimes they'll just call it oblique. It's just that side muscle. Hitters get it, but pitchers get it as well, and it really makes it difficult to finish pitches or finish swings.
John Jay is 2 for 8 with an RBI in this series. Matt Holliday is on deck. Theriot the lead at first. I wonder if a lot of scouting services now, meaning the scouts that are out there watching college pitchers, would rather shy away from them and go with high school pitchers, just because some of those kids, it's almost like they're abused in how much they throw in those college games.
Boy, that is so true. And you realize that if you're a college coach, you've got a guy for 2 or 3 years, maybe, and you'd hope that they would have your best interest in mind, but I'm not sure that's always true.
John Jay caught looking, and the first strikeout of the night.
So much for not being tough on lefties. Pretty good slider there, catching the outside corner. Had a funny conversation with Buck Showalter at the batting cage. It just dawned on me. I remembered that, having played in the Cape Cod, that he had played in Cape Cod a few years before me, and I remember something about him having a record for the highest batting average in the Cape. And I said, "Didn't you used to have that record?" And he says, "What do you mean, used to?"
Still there, huh?
And so we talked about, I said, isn't it amazing what we can remember? That I remember that you had a great record there. And he says, I can remember pitch counts from 20 years ago, but I don't know where my car keys are.
How true is that, though?
Oh, it's very true.
Very good manager that's been close to winning with 3 different teams. Very close to getting into postseason plays. Right there, and then it seems like something happens, whether he wants to leave or gets fired, moves on, and the next year that team wins. But he has set the groundwork, for instance, with the great Yankees teams. He did that with Arizona in their expansion situation. I would imagine, though, you have to have patience if you're not Boston or New York to play in the American League East Division.
I'll say.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Holliday.
Ryan Theriot very confused at first base. He is reading a pickoff move every other pitch and has been going back to the bag, so really difficult to contemplate any kind of hit and run. You certainly wouldn't do that with Holliday anyway, but maybe difficult for him to get a good jump off of first base. He's really got it basically a one-way lead right now. He's a little unsure of himself.
Holliday was hit for the 6th time last night. Leads a team and hit by pitches and hits a rope down the left field line. Just an absolute rocket. But out in front, 2-2. Not to say that batting practice will be an indication of what happens in the game, but our crew telling us that Matt Holliday was hitting some of the longest home runs they've ever seen from a right-handed hitter in this ballpark during BP. The 2-2 pitch. Stood another check on Theriot.
It may not be an indication of future success, meaning this ball game, but it does tell you that Matt Holliday possesses a special kind of power. When you see an entire league play and then you say, boy, Matt Holliday's head and shoulders above them in terms of distance, you know just how strong he is.
A pitch taken in the dirt. Count runs full. Matt Holliday with 10 home runs in interleague play the last 2 years. Second most in Major League Baseball. The most is Adam Jones, who plays center field for the Orioles. He has 11, and Holliday would be at 11 if not for Luke Scott the other night. Made a tremendous play, taking a home run away and left. Will Tony La Russa start the runner here? Slowly hit towards first. Derek Lee only play to step on the bag for out number 2.
He started Theriot, but Theriot was a little confused again, expecting the move to first base. The reason you start the runner, to avoid the double play, obviously. And if that ball would have been hit just a little bit harder, I think they still might have been able to turn it. Theriot with a really slow jump.
Berkman hitless in this series. And one of the differences in this series has been what the Cardinals have done with runners in scoring position and the lack of production by Baltimore. First pitch is a strike. Terrific first half for Lance Berkman. 2 outs, runners in scoring position. He's hitting .435. Leadoff base hit by Theriot, now at second base with 2 down. Berkman, ground ball to second. And the Cardinals strand a runner. The lefty Jaime Garcia goes to work when we come back. Camden Yards in Baltimore, home to the Orioles, and there's no score after a half inning of play. Buck Showalter gives us this lineup: Hardy, Markakis, Jones, then Guerrero, Lee, Wieters, Reynolds, Reimold, and Andino.
And the scouting report: battle of 24-year-old left-handers. Jaime Garcia has had a much better year. He has been consistently sharp other than one outing. Movement, a big key to him, keeping the ball down with a lot of movement. And the ground ball ratio, outstanding for Jaime Garcia.
So the Cardinals keep Garcia on his normal days in this rotation as far as rest is concerned. And when he pitches, Westbrook moved back, and he will start game 1 tomorrow night against Tampa Bay. We should tell you, with the release of Ryan Franklin, the Cardinals purchased rookie right-handed pitcher Brandon Dixon, his contract from Memphis. He was at AAA, already the 8th player to make his major league debut for the Cardinals this season.
Cardinals bullpen got a big lift yesterday with the complete game from Chris Carpenter, and actually some guys out there that Tony La Russa just didn't want to use. Lance Lynn had pitched an awful lot the last 4 or 5 days prior, including a start in AAA. And Carpenter, with his 132 pitch effort, gave the bullpen a nice night off.
Second most number of pitches this season at 132. Tim Lincecum threw 133 back on May 21st. First Cardinal to do that since 2005. And the last to do it, Jason Marquis. Leadoff base hit for J.J. Hardy. Holiday, Rasmussen, Jay in the outfield. Freeze, Theriot, Schumacher, and Cruz along the infield. And it's Garcia and Molina. Battery tonight that's brought to you by Dobbs. Tony Cruz. We thought we'd be saying Tony Cruz making a start at first base.
Well, with Albert Pujols and Mark Hamilton and Lance Berkman, you think, well, maybe Tony Cruz is way down on that list, won't get a start there, but both catchers in the lineup.
How about a double play? Out at second and out at first. It's a double play. The Skip has talked about those kind of balls where you're not sure if you want to move the hips, sidearm it, or a little shovel pass like we saw.
There's the close play at first. He is indeed out. He's a tough out too, Markakis. You're exactly right, Dan. That was one of those in-between plays. Schumacher decided to kind of do the shovel, and he had to do it quickly too. And that's the kind of double play, that slightly softly hit ball to second base, that often produces errors. You're trying to get the ball too quickly instead of letting it come to you.
Here is Adam Jones with 2 outs and nobody on.
Your mind and your hands and your body have to be on the same page.
And Skip made an outstanding play yesterday on a slowly hit ball, which he gloved, and the only play was to shovel pass with the glove.
That was fun to watch.
It really was. 1 ball, 1 strike. Outfield is straight away for Jones. Off speed pitch there from Garcia. Chris Carpenter, by the way, his last 3 starts, averaging 127 pitches in those 3 games, 99 batters faced, and 24 innings.
Only 3 pitchers in the last 10 years have gone 124 plus pitches 3 games in a row. That's unbelievable how durable he has been.
Strikeout for Jaime Garcia, his first of the night. First half review for the Cardinals. It's our Toyota keys to the game.
Yeah, the offensive numbers on top, the pitching below, obviously not as good. The ERA at 3.93, but the Cardinals first in the National League in the first half in batting average and hitting with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. And that, of course, is a very, very important stat. And it's really been the main characteristic of this Cardinal team, hitting in the clutch.
The Cardinals wanted to address their hitting in the offseason. Their offense, they did that, but it has come at the expense of some defensive play. So which do you prefer right now?
Well, when you're winning, it kind of doesn't matter as long as you win. So I guess you'd say if you're winning with pitching, that's what you're excited about. You want to make your offense better. And, you know, it's kind of a trade-off. I mean, it's just a fact. You'd like to be good at everything. But the way baseball is, as competitive as it is, you have to give and take somewhere. Pitching and defense usually go together, but in this case, they don't. I would say I think the Cardinals pitching has been better than their defense. Still some issues in the Cardinals bullpen, however.
1 ball, 1 strike on David Freese. Big breaking ball. It's taken high. Freese is 3 for 8 since returning from the DL with 1 RBI. The 2-1 pitch. Freese with a base hit into right center field.
Good hitters find a way to get hits. Don't have to blister every one of them. This is a pitch up in his eyes. He just gets on top of it enough. And yeah, he's jammed. Yeah, it wasn't hit that hard, but nice soft line drive. Finds a hole in right center.
And it brings in Colby Rasmus. We told you that he's trying to make history. He would be the first player ever in the history of this ballpark in his first 3 games to homer in all 3 games, if he can do it here tonight. This season, 247 against 247 at bats against the National League. 5 home runs, only 32 against the American League, and he has 3 home runs.
Slugging percentage much higher. Slugging percentage includes not just home runs, but extra base hits.
And he's really picked up his play over the last week. 7 hits in his last 19 at bats with the 3 homers, 2 doubles, and 4 RBIs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Yadier Molina's on deck. Second time in this ball game the Cardinals have their leadoff man on. Right fielder is in the sun. You can see that. It's Nick Markakis.
See where Colby's brother Casey had a couple of hits, a couple RBIs, runs scored. Playing an A ball with the Cardinals.
Just missed on the outside corner. 2-2. That one he got. Colby questioning that, whether it was a swing or called 3rd strike. Either way, he is a strikeout victim here.
Brian Gorman says this is a strike. Ball looked both high and away, more high to me than away.
Pitch before looked better.
It sure did.
It's the 2nd strikeout for the lefty Mattis. Yadier Molina with a runner at first. Would you hit and run here with a guy like Molina?
Well, with 2 outs, I just let him swing the bat. I think hit and run to me. Excuse me, there's just 1 out with Rasmus striking out. I think it does make sense. 2 outs. I don't like it. 1 out, I do. Although with David Freese, just kind of happy to have him back in a uniform, and I think you'd think twice about doing anything out of the ordinary with him on the base pass.
Yep. 1 ball, 1 strike on Yadier Molina with Cruz on deck. Just underway here in Baltimore, and there's no score.
Even the fact that he hurt his hand and his wrist, you'd say, well, what does that have to do with running? Well, sliding, play where you got to break something up at a bag. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure he's past that point in his own mind, but you just like to have him ease into it a bit. Part of the reason Tony La Russa is using Daniel Descalso to play third base in late innings.
To me, it's not the wrist that I think you worry about. It's more the ankles and making sure that he stays in games.
Baseball shape.
Yeah.
Including the ankle problems that he's had.
Descalso has been very good at third base defensively. Here's a 3-1 pitch. Taken for a ball, low and in. First walk. August 8th, just around the corner. That's the Pujols Family Foundation Golf Tournament. And current and former players and some of the biggest names in sports will be on the course. For more information, visit PujolsFamilyFoundation.org. And again, that'll be on August 8th. Foundation does some wonderful things for kids in St. Louis and across the country and down in the Dominican as well. Here's Tony Cruz. He's in the 8th spot in this lineup. Runners at first and second. Cruz hitting .258. No home runs. He is driven in 2. Skip Schumacher on deck. And Wieters out to visit. One ball, no strikes, and the next to Cruz. Up the middle, that's a base hit. They'll wave in David Freese. Here he comes. The throw is way offline into the backstop. Runners advance, they move up, and it's 1-0 St. Louis. David Freese scoring from second base to make it 1-0. And Freese safe at home, safe and secure New York life. It's a very good defensive center fielder that put that throw to the backstop.
9 assists on the year for Adam Jones. He has a very strong arm, and you can tell he likes to show it off. And Cardinals being aggressive. Jose Oquendo sends Freese, and along with it, both Cardinal runners advance.
Now it is Skip Schumacher. We talked about how his timing is starting to come back, and he looks like a different player at the plate. Hitting streak of 8 games. He's 11 for his last 28. With a home run, that walk-off homer against Kansas City, and that average during that stretch at .393. One ball, 1 strike.
Infield for the Orioles is about halfway. It's really the way they played this situation last night, and it worked to their advantage. Matt Holliday bounced the ball right to Hardy, the shortstop, and the runner couldn't score from third, and that's Yadier Molina the Cardinals are trying to score, so they can play back a bit more. They'll probably have to make sure it gets through the infield to go.
High fly ball into right. Molina will tag up at third. The catch is made. Throw to the plate. And that's high. A run will score to make it 2-0. Schumacher picking up the RBI, number 19.
Well, now we've got two outfielders showing off their arms. They both have very, very strong arms. This time it was Nick Markakis who just airmails Wieters at the plate. Schumacher does his job, gets the ball into the outfield, and there's the throw. Whoops. If that's on a line, Yachty's probably out.
And here is Ryan Theriot.
Nice weapon to have, though, Dan.
Very much so. Singled his first time up. Theriot singled back in the first, was left stranded at second. Not too shabby, those numbers for Theriot. And the Cardinals, that's been one of their themes this year. 2 out base hits. And with that, RBIs. We're in the top of the second. Mattis already at 35 pitches.
Been the story for the Baltimore Orioles. They have one starter, Arrieta, who's 9-4, and the other 4 guys have really been struggling, especially of late. Decent lineup, Dan, from top to bottom.
Theriot puts it in play. J.J. Hardy with it. And Ryan Theriot is retired. But the Cardinals strike first. It's 2-0 as we head to the bottom of the second. Group tickets are on sale now, and groups of 25 or more get a great incentive, including a discount off the gate price in most seating areas. Cardinals.com to find out more. Here's the DH, Vladimir Guerrero. Next week, the Reds will be in town. We get back on July 4th, and dynamic deal in place for a couple of areas at the ballpark. Terrace level seats are $9. Pavilion seats $20. That's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. $9 and $20 seats are available against the Reds. Grounder towards David Freese. He gets up and makes the play. How about that? David Freese cuts it off. He dives in front of Ryan Theriot, and he makes the play.
I thought that ball was going to be Theriot's all the way. Would have been a tough play for Ryan Theriot. A long throw. And talk about a tough play. How about this? He just lays out and took that assist right away from his shortstop. Look at this. It's one of those plays you really can't communicate about either, Dan. Not like you can have time to talk about that. Third baseman's usually taught if you can make the play, make it.
You always hear about a third baseman, if you can get to it, go get it.
Exactly.
And you could see
I'm not
that.
sure they meant it on that play, though.
No, I was about to say, you could see Tony La Russa had a little smile, and it looked like Theriot kind of shrugged his shoulders like, what are you doing here? But regardless, he's out.
Did you forget about me?
Makes the play.
Yeah, but you know that was fun for David Freese.
Showed off a good arm, and now it's 2-2 here on Derek Lee. Lee hitting just .239. Base hit into right. Hit number 1900 in the career of Derek Lee.
This is really the way you have to hit Jaime Garcia. Just follow the pitch and just take it the other way. Although Derek Lee, with his power, kind of take that base hit the other way, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Not a lot of damage there. The Baxendales from De Pere are here. I want to say hi to family and friends that are cheering on the Cardinals. Matt Wieters digs in. Runner at first. And strike one.
And if you're the Cardinals here, Dan, you just have to press the advantage. The Orioles are struggling as a team. Collectively, they're all looking up at that scoreboard and saying, here we go again. They may not be saying that outwardly, but that's what they're thinking. So you press the advantage, have a nice inning, put up another 0 on the board, and just go back to work and score some more.
A changeup again by Jaime Garcia.
There's no crying in baseball. We all know that, but there's also no sympathy.
Worst outing of the year was at Colorado for Jaime Garcia. With 3 1/3, gave up 11 earned runs, and yet his ERA is barely over 3. So it gives you an indication how well he has pitched this year. Take away that start. Big curveball, and no argument there from Wieters, and the strikeout for Garcia. That's number 2 tonight.
Back door, very sharp curveball. Wow.
Again at the ballpark in St. Louis, Busch Stadium, the .88 ERA. Road games a little different. He's talked about it with Jim Hayes, how comfortable he is at home. The mound feels right to him. The setting is right. And he does pitch so well. And it's not just this year. Even go back to last year and take a look at those home numbers. Very, very good.
Of course, the high ERA on the road is skewed a bit by that one bad start in Colorado, but you even take that one out, it's still a big, big difference between what he does at home and on the road.
1 ball, 1 strike.
I would think Jaime Garcia would be a very, very difficult pitcher to scout, watch on video, and then be able to come up with a game plan where you'd say, okay, now we know how to get this guy. I think there's movement on his pitches that really don't translate that well unless you're standing in the box. You might look at him, if you're a team trying to scout him, and say, you know, what's the big deal about this guy, Jaime Garcia? I don't really get it. He's not throwing 95. He's not throwing 98. But it's the movement and the change of speeds that he does so well that makes him effective.
That's a changeup, backhanded by Freese. Long throw, and it's over Cruz. It's an error on David Freese, who did make a very good play to get to that ball, and then he airmailed it.
Tough play on the backhand, but now he has plenty of time, so this is why it's an error. Good throw gets him. Now he forces Jaime Garcia to find a way not to give up an unearned run, something he's done a lot this year, giving up unearned runs.
Cardinals catch a break that ball did not go into right field or in the seats. After the throw by David Freese. So 2 outs. Reimold is 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position this year. Runners at first and third.
One of the differences between the American League and the National League, you're not even really thinking about, should I be careful with this guy with a pitcher on deck? That's one of the strategy situations that you encounter in a National League game that you just don't get with a DH. Certainly would pitch to the 8th place hitter here anyway, with runners at first and third and a 2-run lead, but it's just not even really in the equation.
That time is called. Baltimore is 1 for 16 with runners in scoring position in this series. Very well done there by Yadier Molina. And Reynolds still at first base. One ball and 2 strikes. Foul ball.
Didn't want the curveball, didn't want the fastball, shook to the slider. Wanted it in on the hands of Reimold. Changeup.
Check swing did not go. 2-2.
I find that pitchers will shake catchers more in situations with runners on scoring position because you have a firmer idea exactly what you want to throw. If there's nobody on, Dan, nobody out, you may say, yeah, that sounds good. I could go a couple of different ways with this pitch, but now it's Jaime Garcia's game to call with runner in scoring position.
And back-to-back changeups. Garcia with a strikeout in his third of the night. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill at Lumiere Casino. It's now open, a sports bar for everyone. By Taco Bell, right now offering $20 admission vouchers to Live Nation concerts. And for all the reasons you invest, mutual funds from Goldman Sachs. Rick Horton, Dan McLaughlin with you, and also Jim Hayes. John Jay digs in, big sweeping breaking ball for strike one. Jay struck out looking his first time up. Nice piece by Jim done today at the Babe Ruth Museum here in Baltimore. So we get a look at our series recap and what's happened with these two teams. Well, the big one, runners in scoring position. Baltimore again now 1 for 17 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, the series has been all Cardinals so far, but that 1 for 17, you're not going to win very many games that way. The Cardinals' earned run average is low because of that 1 for 17.
Here's Matt Holliday, grounded out to first. Did you have fun at the Babe Ruth Museum with the guys?
It was a lot of fun. They actually got to hold Babe Ruth's bat using the gloves so as not to damage the bat. But they got a kick out of it. Jason Mott told me that he actually dressed as Babe Ruth for show and tell when he was in elementary school.
Here's a breaking ball and a strike to Holliday. I noticed in the piece that the curator wasn't too fond of many of the movies done on Babe Ruth.
He said they were all terrible.
Yes.
And there wasn't a piece of the exhibit that had all the noses, the Babe Ruth mock noses they used. That thing's going foul in the movies, just tacked on a wall.
And what about family members that are still in Baltimore? I know there are some of the Babe Ruth family that are here, and their thoughts on the museum.
Well, he said that Babe Ruth's daughter, that's the one he mentioned, is still around and still visits the museum from time to time and is a big baseball fan.
And this is down and in to Matt Holliday. Lance Berkman is on deck. Can make a case that Berkman has been your MVP of the first half for the Cardinals this year.
Where would the Cardinals be with that Lance Berkman?
Yeah, and the other thing is, where would they be if they had a healthy Matt Holliday all year? Fair ball just inside the line, and Holliday in with a stand-up double. Well, that was ripped, and he's 1 for 2 on the night.
Mattis really isn't fooling anybody here tonight. Stuff's not good enough to really get guys off balance. He doesn't throw that hard. He has decent off-speed pitches, but you can just wait back and just kind of just fight off a fastball and look breaking ball and hit a fastball. And so he's going to have a long night unless he figures something out here quickly.
1 out double. Here's Berkman, who grounded out his first time up. 373 hitter with runners in scoring position this year. Jim on the pregame show had some interesting numbers concerning Berkman in particular since his wrist injury in right field.
Well, he had the injury making that diving catch against Houston on May 18th. Before May 29th, however, using this sample size, he was hitting .356 with 11 home runs after 191, but with 7 homers. And I asked him, is the wrist a factor at all? Because he got the cortisone injection. That thing's back headed for Horton. Don't worry, I got you, brother. And he said the wrist is absolutely fine, and he feels like, you know, the power numbers are there, and he feels like he's getting good swings, and he feels great. And I asked him, when you're in a stretch like this where you feel like you're getting the good at bats, you're doing what you want to do, except you're not getting the results, what do you do? And he says that's a tough part because you don't want to tinker around with anything. You could make it worse.
1 ball, 1 strike here on Berkman. Out in front, pops it up. Wieters. Watch that find the seats. And really, isn't that baseball, though, Rick?
Oh, my goodness. That is so true. Yeah, it's when to make an adjustment and which one to make. And because you can start making those minor tinkering adjustments, and as you say, Jim, things get worse. Now you think, okay, let's go back. You find that a lot in the minor leagues especially. You'll see a pitcher that will have a bad day with his changeup. So the next outing, he has a whole new grip for his changeup. And that works once. Next time it doesn't. And you never really get settled into your own way of doing things, and eventually it catches up to you.
The 1-2 is hammered out to deep left. Way out of here. Home run, Berkman. 2-run shot. The wrist feels great. Number 19 for Lance Berkman.
I would suggest not tinkering with this swing. And there's Berkman waiting back on an off-speed pitch. He's not fooled at all. And at second look, I'm not even sure that was an off-speed pitch. This left-hander does not have a real strong fastball, and really nice to see Berkman with such a good at-bat.
You know, we've seen, like with Mark DeRosa, how what seems to be a minor wrist problem never goes away. So it's good to see that Lance is healthy. He said all along the cortisone shot was just for the swelling, and he's fine, and he just showed it.
Well, you know, you say that and you think that and you believe that, but then there's a question, is it true? I mean, now, you've got to think that as a player, and I think it's a reasonable question. You hurt yourself, and are you 100% or not? Do you really swing the bat with authority? And can you finish your swing? And all those things you don't really know until you do it.
Time is running out to vote for the All-Star Game. Help send your favorite Redbirds to this year's All-Star Game. Voting online up to 25 times. Don't wait. Online voting, though, ends tonight. And you would think that both Berkman and Holliday would be on that team. There's even some talk that maybe a guy like Jaime Garcia would make the team. Mattis already at 50 pitches. 4-0 St. Louis lead. Here's Colby Rasmus. That breaking ball, Rick, right now isn't real sharp, is it?
No, it isn't, but really it's his go-to pitch right now. His fastball really isn't fooling anybody. He has a decent changeup and a little cutter, a little slider that he throws too. But, you know, he hump up on a fastball as he just did. He just tried to air that one out, throw it, get it in on Colby's hands. It was 87.
He's one of the top draft picks for the Orioles a few years ago. 0-2 the count on Colby Rasmus. Two outs and nobody on. 0-2 is the count on Rasmus. The 0-2 popped up again by Colby. Wieters makes the catch. Lance Berkman, home run number 19, RBIs 56 and 57. You're watching Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Nothing like it, Wrigley Field, and the Cardinals will be there August 19th through the 21st. It's our road trip to Wrigley package, and there are limited tickets for this, and they're going very quickly. 800-892-7687. Stay at the Four Seasons. You get game tickets and also a party to mingle with some of the players after one of the games. Again, that number, 800-892-7687. 4-0 lead for the Cardinals. Robert Andino is the hitter. Jim, we've got Tony Cruz playing first base here tonight.
Lance Berkman has a healthy wrist, but Tony wanted to rest his legs tonight, so he's the DH. And he said he wanted Cruz's bat in there, and so he put Cruz at first base. Cruz hadn't played first base since he was at AA in 2009. In fact, in his entire minor league career, he had only played at first base 12 times. Played a lot in the fall league, So it was a surprise to Tony, but he borrowed Yadi's first baseman's glove, and he's out there.
Well, the Cardinals really have had rave reviews about the way that he has called a game, and they've been very pleased with that. And if you don't know the story of Tony Cruz, originally not drafted as a catcher, loved his arm, loved the fact that he was a good athlete, moved him behind the plate, and really now, Rick, he has bounced ahead of all the other prospects in the minor leagues as a catcher. So he's a guy that's getting some big league time now. 1 ball and 2 strikes on the second baseman of the Orioles. That pitch was up, and again Freese diving for it, and the throw not in time.
David's certainly trying to get everything he can get. He just slips right there coming up. Probably would have been a bang play anyway at first base. David Freese certainly getting a lot of action, getting tested here tonight in Baltimore.
Also a guy who you can see is just thrilled to be back. That motor is revving. He wants a piece of everything.
Here's J.J. Hardy, leadoff man, the Orioles shortstop. He's knocked in 30 runs, 11 home runs on the year, single back in the first. We talked about it earlier. The Cardinals have made a move, and taking the roster spot of Ryan Franklin is a right-handed pitcher from Memphis, Brandon Dixon.
Yeah, he was 4-7 at Memphis with an ERA of 3.86. Dave Duncan said he's a guy that gets a lot of ground balls, throws a sinker, some breaking pitches, has a pretty decent changeup, and he's just excited to be here. I saw him in the clubhouse, and he wasn't expecting the call up, and he said he's a little in awe.
Holiday under it, makes the catch, and throws a strike into second base. He was a non-drafted free agent by the Cardinals in 2006. If you're wondering, he's wearing number 65.
And he said he's had a lot more success lately, he thinks, because he changed his grips a little. Not any kind of big change in mechanics, but a slight touch with the grip, and he's becoming more effective. So he gets the call.
Pretty amazing. Non-drafted, and yet makes it to the big leagues. Usually when you hear about those guys, Rick, it's
they're fillers.
Yeah, and they're guys that will never make it to the big leagues.
Right.
Just need somebody to fill some spots on a roster in the minor leagues.
Still a nice job to have. Roster filler.
When you hear about non-drafted guys too, you think about some of the Latin players that are signed at an early age at 16.
Mike Piazza is the guy that really jumps into my mind in terms of American players, Dan, as a guy that was drafted only, and I mean only, as a favor to Tommy Lasorda, because he was a godson and knew the family, and so they drafted him literally just as a favor. And he went, all of a sudden, got pretty good.
Hall of Famer?
Maybe.
Sometimes
1 ball, 1 strike.
Evaluation is a very, very tough thing to figure out.
Nepotism worked in that case.
1 out and a runner at first. Nick Markakis at the plate. Grounded into a 4-6-3 double play his first time up.
Markakis with an 18-game hitting streak does not look very comfortable against Jaime Garcia.
Rick, if you were in a groove in your rotation, knowing you were going to pitch every, whatever the rotation was that specific day, and they bumped you up or bumped you back, like the Cardinals moved up Jaime and moved back Westbrook, would that mess with you at all?
I guess if it was Jaime, it would be less likely to mess with you because you're doing your normal things that you would do on the normal day. Your bullpen, your long run, your weightlifting, your stretching, all the things you do, you're doing them on your regular schedule. For Jake Westbrook, then you've got to figure out, well, maybe I should throw another bullpen, or when did I do my long run? And so it's a little more confusing for him than it is Garcia.
Here's Holiday again out left, makes the catch, and there's 2 away.
And with Westbrook, you add the complexity that Al certainly talks about all the time, and he's absolutely right, is you got a sinker ball pitcher, the more you throw, the better off it is. So, I mean, I think for a guy like Westbrook, you probably try to find a way to work in 2 bullpens in between starts.
So they wanted to start Jaime here, one, to give him an extra start, but also The Orioles' record against left-handers just not as good as it is against right-handers.
2 outs and a runner at first. Adam Jones.
I think Garcia is pitching well enough that, I mean, you're not going to call him your ace right now. I think Chris Carpenter's your ace, but he's pitching well enough that I want him out there as often as you can get him out there. I mean, everybody else, that's fine. They're good, but this guy's a little more than good right now.
Two and 0.
You got the added issue with Garcia, more likely to be able to get into the 7th and 8th inning again to kind of help that bullpen out. Jake Westbrook has had some short starts lately.
Line drive into center, and Rasmus makes the catch. 4-0 St. Louis. Jim, great job as always. We'll see you on the postgame. Interleague play from Baltimore, and after tonight we head to Tampa Bay. Camden Yards. Yadier Molina leads it off, top of the 4th, and 4-0 the lead for St. Louis. RBIs tonight for Tony Cruz, Skip Schumacher, and Berkman with a 2-run homer. 1-0 pitch to the Cardinal backstop. Popped foul and out of play.
And Garcia's done a nice job pitching around a couple of infield plays. Miscues by David Freese. One ruled an infield hit, the other an error. I think that's a next level for Garcia. Finding ways to not get rattled, to kind of minimize damage. Certainly has done that here tonight.
1-1, little flare into shallow right. Markakis there to make the catch. Six Flags Day at Busch Stadium on Sunday, July 10th. Cardinals play the Diamondbacks. All fans 48 inches and under receive a ticket to Six Flags. If you'd like to get your Cardinals tickets, just go online right now to cardinals.com. And that is a busy day for the kids. North Star ice cream before the game. And also you can run the bases after the game. That's July 10th. Final game before the All-Star break, and there are dynamically priced tickets for that day. $15 terrace and $25 pavilion. By the way, the Cardinals could be in first place before the night is through.
Milwaukee was shut out by Sabathia this afternoon. Yankees.
That is a fair ball. Tony Cruz will dig for 2. And they're safely standing up. A 1-out double.
Well, Jim Hayes said that Tony La Russa wanted Tony Cruz's bat in his lineup. He had just a good feeling about him against his left-hander, and he's delivered. Base hit in the 2nd inning. And an RBI, and now a double. Just took that curveball, pulled it right inside the bag. 1-out double. Sometimes you just have a feeling.
By the time it's all said and done, it'd be interesting to see how many lineups Tony La Russa will have used this year. Not many set lineups. And that's out of play.
It drives some people nuts, but I think it is the way you have to do it.
2008 draft. And some of the big names, Alvarez in the big leagues, Hosmer as well. Mattis was 4th overall. Buster Posey 5th overall. Number 1 for Tampa Bay, Tim Beckham, and he has not gotten to the big leagues. Let's go back to a point that you made, Rick. Why do you think that you have to do that now, you know, as opposed to when you were playing in your era of baseball, which was not that long ago, but you didn't see rotations like this?
Well, I think you've decided somewhere along the line, all teams have decided to go to 13-man pitching staff, 12 or 13. So you've got really rest issues to deal with. You've got to find ways to mix and match your regular players. You're not taking them out very often in the 6th and 7th inning of games because you can't.
Jim Palmer working in the booth to our right, Hall of Famer. We talked to him after the game last night. And he said, you know, it's made a big deal now how deep Chris Carpenter went, but he said when you are a pitcher, and there's a little flare into center field, base hit, Cruz will stop at third. But he talked about, Rick, slowing mechanics down when you get that deep in a game, that high of a pitch count with Carpenter. And he said more guys should be able to go as deep as Chris did last night.
Yeah, certainly he was one of those kind of pitchers that could go deep into games. He often pitched in a 4-man rotation here in Baltimore. Also was a part of those 4 20-game winners they had here in '71.
The top 5 draft picks, 65 to 06. They only had 4, but recently this organization obviously has been struggling, and they're trying to make do with top picks. Pitching coach here for the Orioles,
Rick Adair.
Andy McPhail with Baltimore trying to turn it around. And let's go back to the pitching coach for Baltimore. You know him well.
Yeah, good friend. Actually pitched for him. Charlie Manuel was the last manager I had. Rick Adair was the last pitching coach. Really understands the game. He also understood that I was done. So I really think he's a pretty smart cat.
Here is Ryan Theriot.
Kept asking me questions about whether I actually got my degree or not, and he wasn't just being inquisitive.
One out, runners at the corners, and another check. And Theriot looked like was showing bunt.
One of the reasons why you go to first is you're trying to see if the hitter will give something away. Rick Adair actually had one of the best pickoff moves of his time. And usually that translates into teaching a young left-hander something that you know. Not always.
There's a breaking ball lined into the seats.
I tried with a few left-handers to teach them moves, and it was really just a fool's errand because their mechanics to the plate were not conducive to them having a good move to first. So what you try to do is just have the move go off of your natural delivery. You wouldn't want to have a great move to first base and sacrifice your pitch to the plate, and usually when you do that, it's a mistake.
Here's the 0-1 pitch to Theriot. Right-hander getting loose in the pen for the Orioles. 1 ball, 1 strike. 3:39 with runners in scoring position. Two and 1. Only in the top of the 4th, and the 3rd plate appearance here for Theriot. He singled back in the 1st, left stranded in that inning, and also grounded out to short. John Jay is on deck. 2-1 pitch on its way. Nope, another check over at first. Theriot, base hit. 5-0 St. Louis as he just guided that into center field, picks up the RBI. 2-hit night, and it's RBI number 28.
And another example of an off-speed pitch that the Cardinals really not that fooled by because they can just keep their hands back. They don't have to worry about that fastball in. Cruz, the runner at third, scores easily. Ryan Theriot, another hit with a runner in scoring position. He has been outstanding. RBI number 28, as you say, and I do not think that this pitcher is long for this game.
This might be his final hitter. You got a lefty-lefty matchup. He did strike out Jay earlier in the game. John Jay 0 for 2. Five to nothing St. Louis. Alfredo Simon He's loose. He's ready to go. One ball, one strike. Clearly, this has to be frustrating for the Baltimore faithful to see a top draft choice struggle like this. High hopes for him. Jay, left center. It's well hit, and that ball is gone. Home run, John Jay, left center. A 3-run shot, and it's 8-0 St. Louis. The Cardinals with 2 home runs tonight.
Very patient at bat for John Jay, looking for something he can handle, and he drives it the other way. Ball carries very well here at Camden Yards. A little breeze going out to left, and that'll be it for the left-hander.
Baseball's biggest stars will gather together in Arizona. A spectacular night. It's the All-Star Game, Tuesday, July 12th, live from Phoenix at 7, only on Fox. An 8-run lead for the Cardinals. They lead it 8-0. And here's our Chevy. Call to the pen, Alfredo Simon.
From the Dominican Republic, he's 6'6", and he has pitched very well of late. 5 games since being recalled. And they really need some help in their bullpen, and he has provided some of that. About a 1.5 year big league experience for Simon. 29 years of age.
Holiday hits it out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. All those runs were earned.
And you'd have to say an opportunity for Simon. Starting staff really struggling here for the Orioles. There's some innings to be had.
Two balls and 1 strike. Holiday pops it up a mile high behind home plate into the seats. And it's a walk to Holiday.
About the best thing you could say about Mattis's outing tonight is he didn't walk anybody. I mean, he's doing his best with what he had, and he just does not have what he used to have. Finished very strong last year for the Orioles, as we mentioned, but clearly does not have his fastball.
So walk to Holiday, and you look at the National League leaders in home runs. Fielder, Berkman, and Bruce all from the left side. I would think Lance Berkman has to be an all-star this year.
I would agree. I believe he was 3rd in the outfield voting last I checked. He and Holiday were 2 and 3, and Matt Kemp was 4.
If you would have said that at the end of last year, people would have thought you're crazy that Berkman would be an all-star this year.
I think there were people that thought the Cardinals were crazy for giving him a job and saying you're going to be our everyday right fielder. And many people said, what about Jay and Craig? But that was the plan, having a platoon right field. And it sure has worked out, and it's good that the Cardinals had all those names in camp.
Berkman strikes out, and here is David Freese. 2008 was the last appearance in an All-Star game for Lance Berkman, if you're wondering. Freese takes a ball low and away. One ball, one strike. 8-0 St. Louis. 2 runs in the second, 2 in the third, and 4 this inning. Cardinals with a pair of home runs tonight. 1 and 2. And that hit Freese, or did it? It did not. So advancing on the play, Holiday.
I got the sense he thought it did, though.
It's a wild pitch.
Started to head to first base like the ball hit him.
Looked like he was waiting for the umpire to go ahead and send him to first. That replay brought to you by Hyundai. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Matt Holliday, the runner at second base. Freese taps it foul.
His hands look quick at the plate.
Very much so.
When somebody's been off for a while, you wonder whether there's going to be some lethargic swings every once in a while, but he looks anything but lethargic in the field and at the plate.
1-2-2. He looks at a ball low. Ground ball to short. Hardy with it. And he makes the play. John Jay, a 3-run homer, part of a 4-run inning for St. Louis. Eight-run lead for Jaime Garcia. Bottom of the 4th. Vladimir Guerrero on the first pitch knocks it out of play. Rick, put yourself in the shoes here of Jaime Garcia. 8-run lead. Still early in this game. You're only in the 4th inning.
First thing you have to do is do everything you can do to pretend it's nothing. I just think it is essential for him to not kind of let down mentally. You're attacking your game plan. Your real battle is with the hitter. Try to get Guerrero out. Not that easy to do. And once you let down, next thing you know, the other team's back in the long run.
Turn to our trivia question, brought to you by AT&T. Who holds the highest batting average all time for the Orioles Browns franchise? Minimum 3,000 ABs. We both knew this answer.
We did. I knew it because I read it. I read it on our material. I didn't know it on my own.
One pitch to Lee. Make it 0-2. He didn't like the call. We believe that Jake Westbrook flew ahead of the club because the team will get in the wee hours of the morning in Tampa. Pretty set for that 3-game series.
Pretty standard operating procedure.
Makes a lot of sense. Get a good night's rest for your starting pitcher.
Kind of a lonely thing to do, though. I mean, that's been done. I've done that before, where they just say go ahead and take off, and so you go into the town. You're kind of all by yourself, and kind of boring. Everybody's talking about the game before, and you're not getting it. You're saying, remember that play in the 5th inning, and you don't.
But you do get a good night's rest. You would hope, you'd think.
I would say most starting pitchers do. That's all I'm saying about that thing.
Here's a ground ball hit to short. 6-4-3 on the double play. You're terrible. Speaking of shortstops, Cardinals now have turned their second double play. Marty Marion with the Cardinals, and also 2 years with the Browns. Outstanding player in his own right, Marty Marion. Not a home run hitter, as you clearly can see.
No, but a great Cardinal. And went on to work for the Cardinals. The late Marty Marion went on to work for the Cardinals for some time. Worked in the Stadium Club for years. Actually ran the Stadium Club. And was kind of the maybe the first tall shortstop.
Did you get a good night rest when you had to fly ahead of the team?
I was afraid you were going to follow up on that. Of course I did. You're smirking.
Just some of the conversations we've had recently, I just had to question it. And you want to get out of this inning quicker than anybody in this stadium right now.
Not worried a bit.
1-2 the count. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Hit out to deep right. Jay will look up and play it off the scoreboard. Plays it perfectly and holds him to a single. Very nicely done by John Jay.
I thought you were going to ask if it was a good idea to maybe fly me ahead for the broadcast for tomorrow. Well played by John Jay. Provided not only good offense, but he's been very smart about the way he plays defense, too. He just always seems to be in the right spot at the right time.
You have been very well behaved. Very well behaved. Bounces in the dirt. Blocked by Molina.
Thanks, Dan.
And can rest easily tonight.
Yeah, she's
your lovely wife.
She's not worried about it. Did I mention that Mark Reynolds went to the University of Virginia?
We did in game 1, and I told you that would be the last reference because you went there. That is a fair ball on a broken bat. Thrown to second base by Holiday holds Reynolds to a single. 2 very long singles for the Orioles.
Now 3 hits in the inning, too. You talked about Jaime Garcia needing to be tough mentally in this inning, and there's a pitch up in the zone. The bat dies a hero. Base hit to left for Mark Reynolds. And as you mentioned, another long single. Now 3 hits in the inning. The double play was huge. Garcia needs to bear down here.
Runners at first and third. And that is pulled foul. Well, the Orioles, you're really wondering what's happened with their starter. It was very good at the end of last year, but you look at his numbers, Rick, and all the home runs allowed, 2 more here tonight, and obviously not the guy that they saw at the end of last season.
No, and you're really kind of out of answers, too, because you don't have somebody else really in the wings. This is not a deep pitching staff for the Orioles. They really just kind of counted on the offense of Jones and Guerrero and Lee, Markakis. Those are pretty good players, pretty good hitters. J.J. Hardy at the top of the lineup, Mark Reynolds. supposed to come over here and provide some pop and some power. And the hope was that the pitching staff would be just good enough to make him competitive. And actually that was happening early in the season. Baltimore was off to a pretty decent start. But the pitching sooner or later finds its level, and right now it's becoming a long season for Buck Showalter. Nice to have a couple of former managers on his staff to help him through some of those nights. John Russell, Willie Randolph.
I think Willie Randolph still has sleepless nights over that curveball from Adam Wainwright, Game 7.
I bet he does. He still wants to manage again, too. I talked to Willie, former teammate of mine with the Dodgers. Great guy. We used to go to the park together. We lived close to each other out in L.A. Yeah, just a classy man. Just really think he understands the game well. Good leader of men, and sometimes you make the wrong choice. Like the umpire might have made right there. Let's see. He's right.
That one caught Molina.
Pitches have been elevated this inning for Garcia.
Talked to catchers over the years, and they themselves are amazed that they weren't hurt as often as some may have been in their careers. But you know, a lot of these guys, it's foul tip after foul tip, and they don't get hurt. That's trouble. That's going to hurt Garcia. That is a home run. It's now 4 hits in the inning for Baltimore.
And everything is up for Garcia. There's a pitch right down the middle of the plate. And way too many pitches up in the zone this inning.
And with that, it is 8-3. With Buck Showalter, you're kicking yourself right now. You're saying, did I leave my guy in too long? Gave up the home run to Jay. You could see why he maybe wanted that matchup of lefty-lefty, but still, he just didn't have it tonight.
He really did not, but I'm also a little steamed if I'm Tony La Russa, Dave Duncan, and my guy who's one of the best left-handers in baseball has just gone out an 8-run lead and given up 3 runs and is not making quality pitches. Another pitch up in the zone. He just can't get the ball down. And I have great respect and admiration for the ability of Jaime Garcia. So I love the guy, but I'd be steamed at him right now if I were Tony La Russa. And I think Dave Duncan has the task of maybe getting him back on track right here. Again, up in the zone, very hittable pitch.
J.J. Hardy will dig in. One swing of the bat, and we've got a ball game. Hardy with a base hit tonight.
Think about the football teams, Dan, that get up by 4 touchdowns, go into prevent defense, kind of maybe take their foot off the pedal a bit. The next thing you know, you're fighting for your life to win a game.
Line drive out to left. Holiday, a sliding catch.
Tony La Russa is not that kind of manager.
8-3, Cardinals on top. Beautiful night here in Baltimore. And here is Colby Rasmus to lead it off. Rasmus, Molina, and Cruz. Cardinals with an 8-3 lead. First pitch is a strike. Rasmus tonight is struck out. He's also popped out.
And that last inning has changed the complexity of this game from a game that the Cardinals had well in hand to now a game that still needs to be won by the Cardinals. A 5-run game, but it has a feeling of being even closer than that, since the Cardinals are batting just in the 5th inning here.
One ball and 2 strikes. Mark Teixeira with career home run number 300 today. That 5-0 win for the Yankees over Milwaukee. CC Sabathia pitching against his former mates. Chicago, dramatic win over San Francisco in extra innings at Wrigley Field. They won 5-2. They tied it up off of Brian Wilson.
I think there's some conversations going on in Milwaukee right now about the strength of interleague schedule.
No doubt. Rasmus, this swing and miss. Second strikeout for the big right-hander, Simone. And traditionalists will point to that the schedules aren't even.
It's also interesting how traditionalism changes in this game. It kind of depends on what era you're talking about. I mean, the real traditionalist would say we should be wearing wool uniforms and leaving our gloves out on the field. And there's a level to which there are baseball fans that want to go back to kind of a different style of the game. But baseball just moves on, makes some changes, adjusts. And I think that having the fans in mind is really why interleague play is here in the first place.
And I'll point to last night to back up your point. Traditionalists will say pitch count. Why are we even looking at a pitch count? You know, Chris Carpenter is a major league pitcher. He should be going deep into games and pitching 120 to 130. But this era of baseball, you do look at pitch counts. And a lot of times that helps make a decision for a manager.
Yeah, and there have been advances in medicine, for example, to where you can look inside a pitcher's elbow and shoulder and say, look, he's got a problem, he needs surgery. Not only does he need it, but we can fix it. And we can bring him back next year and he can pitch again. Back in the 50s, that wasn't the case. It was, you know, hey, spit on it and try to figure it out. And if you can't go, we'll find somebody else.
There's Tony Cruz, 1 ball, 1 strike. And he hits it in the air to shallow left. J.J. Hardy calling for it, and he has it. Cardinals go quietly in the top of the 5th. Schnooks, this date in history, 1984. Vince Coleman singles in the winning run in the bottom of the 11th to drive in Ivan De Jesus. Cardinals beat Jesse Orosco and the Mets 2-1 at Busch Stadium.
A young Jesse Orosco.
That would mean, how old do you think he was then?
Well, he was young when he was in the big league, but I'll bet he was probably about 24 then. And pitched a very, very long time.
Let's see if Jaime Garcia can't settle down as you get a look at the hits leaders in the league this year. Nick Markakis at 28 trying to advance his hitting streak to 19 games. And he will. Base hit.
Garcia just cannot get the ball down. I mean, I know he's trying. That hit was not a real sharp hit, but it's still up in the zone, and that's why he's able to just fight it off and go the other way with it. It's kind of flat, straight, and up. Those are not words you want to hear if you're a pitcher.
Just saw Vince Coleman on that graphic, and you were telling me that Vince said to you a number of times how much he regretted leaving St. Louis.
He told all of the people at our Legends camp this winter that that's the biggest mistake he's ever made in his life. Not re-signing with the Cardinals. He went on to play in New York. He knew how good the fans were, how good that situation was.
Double play ball out at second, and a double play. That has been huge for Garcia tonight.
Well turned by Schumacher. David Freese starts it. And Garcia gets one down in the zone. How about that? Speedy Adam Jones retired on a double play, and that's the third one tonight.
Well, it wasn't easy for Vince when he got to New York, and Vince did cause a stir on his own a time or two.
Well, Vince has great personality. I mean, if you're around Vince Coleman for five minutes, you know he's just got a lot of personality. He's got a lot of confidence and bravado. That's kind of the way he is. He played that way, but wow, was he an exciting player. I mean, just incredibly exciting to watch play the game of baseball.
A high fly ball into center field. Rasmus makes the catch. Markakis, 19-game hitting streak, but erased on the double play. What's on tap will be in Florida tomorrow and Tampa. Jake Westbrook will get that start. 6-4 on the year. Will come your way at 5:30. It's our Budweiser What's on Tap. Here's Skip Schumacher. He'll lead it off here in the top of the 6th. Breaks his bat. Hardy deep in the hole and makes the play.
And astute Cardinal fans would recognize that we had the date wrong on this date in Cardinal history. 1985, in fact, was Vince Coleman's rookie year with the Cardinals. Just off by a year, but Cardinal victory, so all is forgiven.
Schnooks doesn't mind. They get their graphic up there twice, and they love it when Rick talks about Schnooks.
There you go. Everybody's happy. Vince Coleman's happy because we've talked about him now in 2 different innings.
And a strike at the knees. Here's Ryan Theriot. Theriot with 2 base hits. One of those an RBI hit back in the 4th.
Dwight Gooden started that game for the Mets, and think about pitchers that I've seen over the years with great ability. Nolan Ryan comes to mind, Roger Clemens, but Dwight Gooden at the age of 19 might have been as good as anybody I'd ever seen. I mean, he was phenomenal when he was young. His fastball had great hop to it. Curveball was essentially unhittable. And he could throw forever. He's one of those guys that just had kind of that arm, just keep throwing. And he had some great years. A shame he didn't last longer in this game. I thought he'd be, at the age of 19, potential Hall of Famer.
2-2 pitch. Threw a no-hitter with the Yankees.
And more importantly, he's in my book, too.
That long list that you have of base hits.
It's a pamphlet, actually.
If you have Nolan Ryan, you've got Dwight Gooden.
And if the season lasts long enough, you'll find out the other 9.
Other 9. Every Thursday, Fox Sports Midwest has the Farm Report. Brian Walton checks in with prospects, Cardinal system, see how they're doing. Two outs and nobody on, and here is John Jay. Here's a grounder up the middle. Hardy diving stop from his knees. And Lee couldn't come up with it.
Nice attempt by Hardy. Very good with the glove. Has to throw off his knees. Bang, bang. Jay is safe. Dave McKay, the first base coach, making sure John Jay turns the correct way. You start making a move towards second base, start moving in that direction, then it may be considered you're trying to take an extra base. So you really can't round towards second base. You have to really stay on the foul side of the bag.
Dave McKay cannot touch the runner, and that's something that you might overlook, where a runner's barreling down or there's a collision and runner starts heading towards the first base coach. He can't touch him.
You got very close to him to be able to communicate to him, but you cannot touch him. Exactly right.
Saw a play like that a few years ago involving the Cardinals. Third base coach waving the runner in and got in a position where he was in that running lane, couldn't get out of the way, barely touched the runner, but he was out. One pitch to Matt Holliday.
We saw not too long ago, and memory serves, it was Tim Flannery with San Francisco, who was no more than 15 feet away from home plate as he was directing a runner home. And it's just bizarre to me why they even have coaching boxes at all. I mean, you're supposed to be in those coaching boxes and never see anybody standing.
Here's a good example. Right now, Dave McKay is out, even with the bag, and Jose Oquendo is out.
Are those suggestion boxes?
Rene Latchman, when he was with the Cardinals, Mark McGwire was up, he'd be past the umpire.
Don't blame him.
Me neither. Might do the same with this guy, Holliday. J.J. Hardy in the hole makes the play. Cardinals strand a runner, and we move to the bottom of the sixth, and a gorgeous night in Baltimore. Baseball tonight is brought to you by, for a limited time, Jack's Really Big Chicken Sandwich Combo. It's back for only $3.99 plus tax at participating restaurants. And by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. Derek Lee looks at a strike, and we're underway. Orioles half of the sixth.
A strike at the knees with movement.
First time that baseball has elected captains for the home run derby, and it's actually going to be a team format. So you have Prince Fielder, who won it in St. Louis 2 years ago. He's the captain of the NL team, and David Ortiz of the Red Sox, the American League team. That pitch was up on a hop to David Freese, makes the play over to Cruz.
The location for Garcia, again up in the zone, about belt high. This one just beat into the ground by Derek Lee. Interesting how Garcia just came out in that fourth inning, and all of a sudden his location was not there. Just kind of struggling to get it back. That pitch up again fooled him with the break, though, on the changeup.
I'm sure a reason you don't feel real comfortable, even though you're leading 8-3, is the fact that at some point, and maybe earlier than you would like, you'd have to go to your bullpen, which has at times recently really struggled.
Yeah, certainly question marks in the Cardinal bullpen, and with Garcia struggling a bit here just to kind of have a simple inning, although he did have a fairly easy fifth. Orioles helped him out a bit, but I just think his command is off right now, and he's liable to throw a bunch of pitches here if the Orioles let him. Watchful eye of Dave Duncan. Really a tough thing to correct because it's just a release point question for Garcia. Again, everything up, up, up. He's just releasing the ball too far, really behind his body instead of out front. And you're only really talking about a quarter of an inch difference. So that's not something the pitching coach can tell you. You just got to figure it out.
And that pitch is taken up for ball 4. Do you have a car and love baseball? Then don't miss discounted Cardinals tickets from Phillips 66 Gas when you fill up with 10 gallons or more. For complete details, stop by your local station or visit cardinals.com/Phillips66. Pitches by inning here for Garcia. He's at 87 his total.
There's that 6-pitch 5th inning where the Orioles helped him out after he had a very long 4th. Double plays you mentioned, Dan, have been a big asset. Maybe he'll get another one. You see Yachty pointing his glove out at Garcia. There you go. That's the location. That's what I want. You got it now. Mark Reynolds, dangerous.
Out to left. This is trouble. It's a home run.
Question at hand right now is how far do you go with Jaime Garcia? That pitch about thigh high, middle of the plate, kind of running back over the plate instead of going down and away, and the movement's missing a bit for Garcia. Now Molina tasked with just having a long conversation about nothing with Jaime Garcia.
Right-hander is throwing in the bullpen for St. Louis. Mike Cameron released today by the Boston Red Sox. Red Sox, as Mott is getting loose, had 2 home runs from Veritek, and they beat Cole Hamels today and the Phillies. .368 feet on the home run. And long walk here by Tony La Russa. And that'll be it for Jaime Garcia. Still has a chance to win, but can the bullpen make this lead stick? 8-5. Chevy called to the pen, and the Cardinals call upon the hard-throwing right-hander Jason Mott, his 35th appearance this year.
Yeah, perfect kind of appearance for Jason Mott in a game like this. He's a guy that can really shut down the opposition in middle innings. The Orioles are well aware how hard Mott throws. Disappointing outing for Jaime Garcia with an 8-run lead. Gave back 5 of the runs. I'm sure he feels a bit shell-shocked right now. How did that happen? Just kind of cruising right along. Had 3 zeros the first 3 innings, and second time through the lineup, not so good. It's one thing you have to be honest about with the outing of Jaime Garcia. If the Cardinals had no runs in this game, we would be talking about this as a terrible outing for Jaime Garcia. 5 runs, 5 innings.
Good point. Yep.
But you look at him and you say, well, wait a minute, the guy's leading. Don't be too hard on him. Well, he's not the reason the Cardinals have 8 runs. That's the hitters doing that. His job is to give up 0. And so it really is not a good game for Jaime Garcia, even if he has the opportunity of maybe being the winning pitcher in this game.
No balls and 2 strikes. And a swing and a miss, and a fastball by Mott.
Good location, Dan. Might have had a little wrinkle to it.
You know, when it went his fastball, it looked to be maybe that cutter that he's got.
They don't really look that much difference. There's a velocity difference of maybe 4 miles an hour. And you really couldn't tell, except by the miles per hour, that was his little cutter.
I don't know if you agree with this, but watch Mott when he comes set. He looks more closed tonight than maybe we have seen. And he also has that front foot turned inward, which I would assume would help him keep that front shoulder closed. Tough play here by Theriot, and safe at first.
That's 3 hits now for Andino. I think you're right about the mechanical adjustment here for Jason Motti. Is much more closed with that front leg. Not sure he's going to be able to do that out of the stretch with a runner on first. There's the attempt by Theriot. Jump throw.
Now J.J. Hardy. Trevor Miller is warming up in the bullpen.
The close stance still. And I think you're right, Dan. Excuse me. You started to say earlier that perhaps the whole reason for doing that is to make sure you don't fly open. It's just going to keep you more closed. If you start there, keep that left shoulder pointing towards your target, as opposed to if you see the chest of a pitcher too soon, that basically means you're flying out with your front shoulder. In this case, with his glove hand, his left hand, you're flying open. If you see the birds on the chest too early at the plate, you're seeing a pitcher who's going to drop his arm and not stay on top and not get the same kind of power behind a pitch. You have to stay close, then drive to the plate.
Would you also be able to use that and hide the ball a little bit better too?
Sure, absolutely. And throwing from the third base side of the rubber would also aid in that, in hiding the baseball. How do those pants not get hooked on a spike? I just don't get it. There I am being old school again.
Hardy, a swing and a miss. Good work by Jason Motti. Next time you want to catch a Cardinals game, head to StubHub. You'll find the seats you want, the freedom to choose where you'd like to sit. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of your St. Louis Cardinals. There's Carpenter on the bench sitting next to Jaime Garcia. And Berkman hits it down the right field line and foul. As you said, not a very effective start, Rick, for Jaime Garcia, and you get a little concerned about the way he pitches away from Busch Stadium.
Pretty long conversation right there. There's Chris Carpenter trying to show some leadership, and you always have to pick your spots. You have to understand the relationship you have with a certain player. Sometimes players want to listen, sometimes they don't. Garcia, I would say, a pretty coachable young left-hander, and he certainly respects Chris Carpenter.
You know, this is only the second time that Garcia has allowed 2 home runs in a game. The other was the first game he ever pitched in. Big league start, I should say. July 20th of 2008. Nick Markakis has extended his hitting streak to 19, one back of Ryan Braun, who has 20 right now. And that is hammered deep right. 2-home run game for Lance Berkman. Wow. What a year this guy is putting together.
That should get him another 10,000 All-Star game votes. He knew it right away, drops his bat. Doesn't like to show up the pitcher. Wow, he hit that ball a long way. That's 2 bombs from Berkman.
You're told that only one player has hit the warehouse in right, and that was during home run derby. Markakis in foul territory did not come up with it, and that was Ken Griffey Jr. 2-homer night for Lance Berkman. So Berkman on the night, he picks up home run number 19, then number 20. He has 3 RBIs, and now with 58 this season.
We were talking with Jim Hayes during the 3rd inning about the great, really imponderable question, really. I mean, you can't really come up with a real answer to where would the Cardinals be without Lance Berkman. But if you just had to just guess that, you'd say 6 or 7 games out. If there's no Lance Berkman, with what the staff has done and the injuries they've had, you'd be forced to play John Jay more.
What do you think? You'd have to take a closer look also at his home runs, where they've come from in games. You know, are you behind a lot? Are you up a lot? But he's had some big home runs.
He really has.
You know, at crucial times, many times here in the first half. And that's well hit off the bat of Freese, and that ball drops in. It's off the wall, and David Freese will stop at second base. That's the one thing that Freese can really do well, and that's go to the opposite field with power.
Like Alan Craig, they both have great right center field power. Cardinals have really missed the power of those 2 right-handed bats, especially with Albert Pujols' absence. Ball just carries very well into that right center field area. And another 2-hit night for David Freese, and his night is through.
And Descalso will pinch run for him. Simone is done for the night too. So we'll see the lefty come in. We'll tell you about the change in just a moment. There's a look at the lefty Mike Gonzalez. 28th appearance, high ERA, a record of 1-1. He's given up 7 home runs in 26 1/3 innings. Opponents hitting over 300 against him. Brings in Colby Rasmus, who's 0 for 3 tonight. 9-5 St. Louis. Runner at second base is Descalso.
Gonzalez has always had that very sharp slider, and at one point was a closer with the Pirates. 24 saves in 2006. Then he just had an electric arm. Everybody wanted him. The Braves got him. Then he got hurt, and he's just not been the same since.
Used to throw hard. That pitch up and in. 2 balls and no strikes. By the way, that's the 55th home run that's made it on the fly to the street. Berkman, the second time he has done that at this ballpark, his 28th multi-home run career game. And he's done that now for the 4th time this season. That home run measured at 440 feet. Three and 1 the count. And Rasmus draws the walk, brings in Molina.
Dan, you know, there was a lot of talk in the offseason when the Cardinals signed Lance Berkman. The good news about him that we were hearing was that he had a new offseason workout where he'd dropped some weight, was doing some real baseball-specific workouts, as Skip Schumacher did. I would suggest that Lance Berkman do the same workout next year.
Maybe get some other guys on that too.
Go out on a limb and just say that's a pretty good idea to do whatever he did.
Molina, little bloop into right. Tough play. And the catch made by the second baseman. Skip Schumacher, by the way, this offseason, he was telling me he worked out with Paul Correa, who yesterday officially retired from the National Hockey League because of concussions, but those two got together a bunch this offseason.
Nice night for Tony Cruz. 2 for 3. Scored a run. Driven in a run.
Runners at first and second.
Dan, you talked about how hard Gonzalez used to throw. I mean, he threw a nasty breaking ball too back in the day, and especially against left-handers. I mean, he was just unhittable and very sought after pitcher. Everybody wanted him, either as the closer or the 8th inning guy or your short lefty.
Cruz too short. Out at second. Double play as Lee stays on the bag. Berkman is homered from both sides of the plate here tonight. It's time to stretch. They are down to the 4 greatest moments in Major League Baseball All-Star Game history. Stan the Man still part of it. And you can vote him in the finals and see who wins. Tuesday, July 12th at 7, the All-Star Game. And you can go to MLB.com/moments and vote now for your favorite Midsummer Classics.
1955 Stan Musial game winner. How could you not vote for that one?
And here is Trevor Miller appearing for the 33rd time this year. He's 0-1 with a 3.86 ERA, and opponents hitting just .255 against him.
Cardinals now with 3 left-handers in their bullpen, a little bit more of a variety to choose from. And Trevor has not been in action for quite some time, but 32 games in half a season, that's a pretty good workload.
Nick Markakis takes a ball. Just seems like Stan has been on, more of the minds of fans throughout the country and the sports fans because of his medal that he received from the president. Also a book that's out about him. Very complimentary. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. So, fans, not that they forgot what Stan Musial is all about outside of St. Louis, but now they're remembering just how wonderful a human being he is.
And St. Louis knows Stan better still than the rest of the world, but it's great that he's getting the recognition on a much higher basis.
Would you agree with that?
I think you're absolutely right.
So Mitchell Boggs coming in. Good work by Trevor Miller. Gets the out. It's 9-5. Mitchell Boggs will take over, and we found out today that he was unavailable for the game last night. So Carpenter, he didn't need him, but he was dealing with, Boggs was, some back issues, and he gets the call here.
Yeah, we found out after the game, Tony La Russa divulged that Mitchell Boggs was a little stiff yesterday with the back. When Mitchell Boggs is good, he is very, very good. He has that nasty sinker, and we'll see if he gets that pitch here in the 8th inning. He's facing 3, 4, and 5. The big pitch for him, sinker down and into right-handers. When he gets that spot, it just has tremendous downward action, and it's hard.
Here is Adam Jones. First pitch is taken for a ball. It's 9-5 St. Louis with 1 out here in the Orioles half of the 7th. Cardinals have turned 3 double plays here tonight. One of those off the bat of Jones. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That last pitch, the one I'm talking about, almost unhittable.
So they send him down, Rick, and Mitchell Boggs is working on mechanics. What specifically, when you watch him pitch, that you see, being a former pitcher and pitching coach, that they were trying to work on?
Well, I think what we're seeing more since his recall is a more consistent slider. And that's one of the things that happens, not so much about mechanics, it's just having a repeatable motion and not being all over the place. When he's not pitching well, he's way high, then way in the dirt, then he overthrows the slider, then he hangs the slider. But at this level, you hang a pitch, you're backing up a base. It's just the way it is. So the mechanics, I don't see a whole lot different, although he's one of those violent guys to the plate. I mean, he really just jumps at the plate. But it's the release point right there that matters. Repeatable delivery.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss, and there's that hard sinker that you talk about to the righties.
That's just nasty. I mean, that is just carving up an all-star is what he just did. Late movement. That's not even close to being a strike. A little bit like Cardinals trying to hit Charlie Morton early in the season.
Pitch for Pirates.
From the Pirates, it's pitched about 4 or 5 inches off the inside corner. You can't lay off it. You also can't hit it.
Here's Vladimir Guerrero. Camden Yards will be 20 years old next year. They have not seen a World Series game, but they've had some neat moments here, obviously. Number 1 would be back in 1995. Cal Ripken breaking the Ironman streak. Eddie Murray's 500th career home run was hit here.
Another former teammate. Much more likable guy than everybody gives him credit for being.
I was about to ask you, what was he like as a teammate?
Yeah, I mean, just a great teammate. Kind of a dry sense of humor. Didn't really say a whole lot. But I found him to be a very encouraging teammate. He was a hitting coach for the Dodgers for a short time. Worked with Andre Ethier quite a bit when he first came up. And I just think a great baseball guy and one of the best switch hitters to ever play this game.
Nine to 5 in favor of St. Louis, and one of the great baseball moments of all time right here in this ballpark. September 6, 1995. Consecutive game streak at 2,131 for Cal Ripken. And he homered when he tied the record, also homered the next day when he broke it. Final game was in 2001. All-Star game was here in 1993. Kirby Puckett was the MVP that year. It was also the year that Randy Johnson put one right over John Cruxett in the All-Star game.
Now that I remember.
1-1 pitch to Skip is hit out of play.
That didn't make the final 4 moments, did it?
It did not. Memorable, but not to that level. Strikeout of Schumacher, no argument there. No activity in the Cardinal bullpen, so you figure Boggs is back out there for the bottom of the 8th. And we'll see if they would even think about extending him through the 9th.
As long as he's feeling fine, why not?
On the air tomorrow at 5:30. Back to the top of the lineup in Ryan Theriot.
And I don't mean just feeling fine and doing well. You can feel good and still give up hits and runs, so you still have to be getting results. But Mitchell Boggs is the kind of guy that can be a jam pitcher for you, come in with a couple of guys on, get a strikeout. He also can get extended, as you talked about, going down to AAA. I think that's a valuable asset to have in your bullpen, a guy that can do both.
And that's why I bring that up. At this point, you know, you figure that he should be able to go at least 2 innings. And if you have to stretch him out for 3, you probably would be able to.
Cardinals have a few pitchers like that. I would say I would not look at Jason Motta as a multi-inning pitcher right now, but I think Fernando Salas can throw a couple innings. I think Mitchell Boggs can. I think Lance Lynn's another guy in the bullpen that's capable of going 2 or 3 innings. I think you have some options.
Gonzalez working from that third base side of the rubber. Nasty pitch there. Remember, he used to rock back and forth. He started doing that. Did not begin his career that way. He's ditched that as the more traditional delivery to the plate now. Cardinals head to Tampa Bay tonight. First of 3 against the Rays tomorrow. We come back home against the Reds on the 4th of July. That start time is at 5:15. Dynamic pricing in full effect. $9 seats for all 3 games against Cincinnati. John Jay with one of the big hits tonight. 3-run homer earlier. Not quite Randy Johnson, John Kruk.
No, but look at this location, just a bit high. But you've got to say this guy's got an intriguing arm, even after an injury.
And a base hit with Jay going the other way.
Nice at bat.
This copyrighted telecast has been presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Just joined us. It's been the Lance Berkman Show. He's homered from both sides of the plate. John Jay is homered.
And we talked in the beginning of this series that this would be a place where home runs might abound. Cardinals had 2 in the first game of this series. Holiday and Rasmus. Rasmus homered again in game 2. Really a hitter's ballpark. Ball carries very well into the gaps. We've seen that. And pretty short down the right field line here.
Here's the 0-1 pitch to Holiday. High fly ball into right. And that sends us to the bottom of the 8th. Mitchell Boggs back to work. St. Louis on top. It's 9-5. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. By Bank of America, where ATM deposits are as easy as an infield fly. No deposit slip, no envelope with Bank of America. Member FDIC. And by AT&T. Beautiful night here in Baltimore. Glad you're with us. Along with Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. And our Fox Sports Midwest crew. Derek Lee will lead it off against Mitchell Boggs. Boggs getting the final 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. Rick, you've talked about the home runs that have been hit, and the crew here telling us that once the hotel went up, big hotel behind the stands and left in that wall, very big hotel, that it changed the wind patterns of this ballpark, and it's lent itself to being a more of a home run hitting ballpark.
Certainly wasn't the intended consequence, but that's just the reality. Some of the patterns can change depending upon what goes up around stadiums. We've seen that before, and that big tall building up there you think would have no effect on baseball, but apparently it has. And this ballpark, the second most home runs per at-bats behind Yankee Stadium.
Derek Lee fights it off for a base hit. Earlier he picked up career hit number 1900.
Backup slider.
And it brings in Matt Wieters, who is 1 for 2. He has struck out, singled and scored in the 4th, walked and scored in the 6th.
The backup slider, Dan, is a pitch that not only doesn't it slide, it goes the other direction. It's got the right spin for a slider, but you come underneath the ball, you don't throw it properly, and you actually, instead of imparting spin and making it go down and away to a right-hander, for Boggs being a right-hander, it actually, you come underneath the ball, you have the spin, but you don't have enough torque pulling it from right to left. It actually goes the opposite direction. Sometimes it works as a changeup, but it's an unintended consequence.
And right now the Cardinals hoping that Boggs can at least get the 3 outs here in the 8th and then worry about the 9th, but keeping it a 4-run St. Louis lead. Leadoff base hit by Derek Lee. The 1-1 pitch to Matt Wieters. Right now Baltimore in one of the longer droughts of teams that have not been to postseason play consecutive years. They start play tonight, the American League East, in last place and 11.5 games out. Could be 12.5 before the night is through.
A lot of things to fix. Wieters, one of those guys that centerpiece player for this organization. Actually leads the American League in batting with runners in scoring position, but it's his 4th at bat, hasn't had one yet.
Hot shot and a foul ball. Past the diving Tony Cruz, and a foul ball.
Very close.
Where it goes over the bag, and that is Dan Bellino, the first base umpire. Very, very close. Two and two.
It's such a hard call when you think about it for an umpire, because it involves not only are you seeing the right angle of it, but you're also kind of guessing at a depth perception. Where is that ball when it goes over the base? I mean, you'd almost have to be standing on the base to really know.
And the other thing too is many times the position they're in, you're moving.
Absolutely.
A 3-2 pitch, base hit out to left. Boggs did not get the pitch before called a strike. He had to come right at him on 3-2, and Wieters just guided it out to left.
There's some work left for Boggs to do this inning. Decent pitch there on a 3-2 count. You don't want to walk him, obviously. Make him earn his way on, and that's exactly what he did.
It starts to get a little interesting now. Reynolds will dig in. He has homered tonight. They start to stir out in the Cardinal bullpen. Runners at first and second. And that pitch in the dirt, but the runner's going nowhere. Inning started with a blue hit by Derek Lee. Wieters with a solid hit to left. Valdez getting loose, the lefty in the bullpen. Recently picked up by St. Louis.
Almost hit him. Luke Scott in the on-deck circle. You think that's who Valdez is warming up for. Markakis not up for another 4 hitters. Scott made that great play up against the left field wall. We haven't seen him since. In game 1.
2 balls and 1 strike. That's a strike. Reynolds didn't like that call. 2-2.
It's a high strike, but it's a strike.
Big pitch in the game right here. Home run hitter at the plate, Reynolds. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And it bears repeating. The Cardinals trying to climb back into a first-place tie going into the month of July. Cardinals just 10-15 in the month of June. Not been a good month for them.
Reynolds just got a piece. Kevin Gregg, who we saw last night, former closer with Florida and Chicago. Toronto is getting loose. Reynolds has already struck out 81 times this year.
3rd in the American League.
It's a high fly ball out to center. Rasmus makes the catch. Throw will come back into second base. We cut up Manterio, and it's runners at the corners. Reimold will be the hitter. Runners at first and third. He picked up a 3-run homer back in the 4th. First pitch taken high. Here's a 1-0 pitch. 2-0. And right now Boggs has not been overly sharp in hitting his spots.
Not nearly as sharp as he was in that first inning. He struck out Adam Jones, really carved him up in the 7th inning. Then retired Guerrero to end that inning, and now he's just a little bit off with his command. Dave Duncan had quite a few visits to the mound the last couple of games, but most of his visits have turned out pretty well. Just looking for those magic words. Get a ground ball. Sometimes you yell at them, sometimes you coddle them, sometimes you get them to think.
Well, that magic word or words would be throw strikes.
There used to be a fine in the Cardinal organization. An infielder told a pitcher to throw strikes, he was fined $15. Because the Cardinal brass would say, don't you think the pitcher knows that? And that was a George Kisselism. And throughout the Cardinal organization, you were not allowed to tell a pitcher to throw strikes. It's a little bit like telling a hitter, getting him out of the box, hey, hit the ball. Oh, really? Is that what I'm supposed to be doing? I mean, the pitcher knows his job is to throw strikes. Doing it is the problem.
2-2. A pitch at 96 in our gun from Boggs.
about that pick by Yadier Molina? Made that look easy, and it was not. You got to be really alert right now if you're Molina, because Boggs has such great stuff, throws so hard, and has such a sharp breaking slider to go along with that sinker. You've got to be on your toes, because you don't know where the ball's going right now. Light on your feet if you're Yadier Molina.
The 3-2 pitch on its way. Breaks his bat, slowly hit. Descalso cuts it off to first. Safe.
Four RBIs now for the left fielder. Just barely got a bat on that. Descalso really can't do it any quicker than he did it. Bang, bang play.
And now you have the tying run at the plate.
Yeah, you said it was getting interesting. I think it's past that. Now it's getting
taken for a ball.
Now it's getting scary because you're close to the top of the lineup. And Dino's 3 for 3. Then you've got Hardy. And Hardy has very good home run power at the top of the lineup for Baltimore.
And a 1-0 pitch. Pitch sharply to Descalso. Out at second. That's a double play. Oh, did Boggs need that?
Cardinals lead at 9-6 as we go to the 9th in Baltimore. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, Pat Harris and Cal Eldred are back in the studio. Puma Mania takes Baltimore by storm. The plays of the month and another edition of Tony TV. A look at the warehouse and Camden Yards as we go back to the booth. And Dan and Rick, guys.
All right, thank you, Jim. And Johnson is the new pitcher as Lance Berkman will dig in. Berkman, his last 3 home run night was against the Reds in 2002. So Jim Johnson takes over. Johnson has lowered his ERA from 5.14 to 2.33. Currently where it's at. Last 23 appearances. Leads the American League, those relievers in innings pitched. Number 46. Only appeared in 26 games a year ago, had an injury. Fernando Salas getting loose for the Cardinals in the bullpen. Cardinals, Rick, have turned 4 double plays, none bigger than the double play started by Descalso moments ago.
And that certainly was the biggest one, but the other ones were pretty important too. They got Jaime Garcia out of some jams. Garcia, the starter in this game, 5 1/3 innings, 5 runs, 10 hits, Dan. And those double plays certainly helped him. Could have been worse. Cardinals kind of just hanging on right now.
Last 3 home run game for the Cardinals. Pujols against Chicago. That was at Wrigley. That's hit out of play. Two and two the count. The Orioles will have the top of their lineup coming up in the bottom of the 9th. If the Cardinals can hold on, they would go to 6 games above 500. The 3-2 pitch to Berkman. High fly ball. This one will stay in the ballpark. Adam Jones puts it away for the first out.
And if the Cardinals can hang on, what a great way to start this road trip. Think about expectations coming off not playing very well at home, not playing well at all on the last road trip. And Cardinals got a boost with David Freese being back. Daniel Descalso has replaced him here tonight, but Freese another 2-hit night. Nick Punto back as well. And the Cardinals seem to have some things figured out.
Little chopper up the middle and a base hit for Descalso. Even if Hardy gets to that ball, it's still probably a base hit.
Bounce up the middle. Pitcher thinks about trying to barehand it. Thought, well, that's probably not a good idea.
But your instinct, as you well know, is to go for it and try to get it.
Well, you protect your face first. That's part of the instinct. And then you think, oh, yeah, I might want to try to catch this.
That's hard hit right side. Out at second. And they got him. 4-6-3. What a double play there, turned by Baltimore. What a surprise. Lance Berkman with 2 home runs tonight, our Budweiser player of the game. Homered from both sides of the plate. Cardinals lead it 9-6.
Still more work to be done, however. Fernando Salas will take over for the Cardinals. Save situation for him. 12 for 14 on the season. The ERA is good. He has not been as good in the month of June as he was in April and May, but he's still the closer, still done a nice job. And as you mentioned, Dan, top of the order at Hardy, Markakis, and Adam Jones. Baltimore with 14 hits tonight.
Hardy is 1 for 4. He singled his first time up.
It's a great thing about winning baseball. The other team gets 6 runs, 14 hits. You just better do better than that. So far, the Cardinals have. You need to win some games 9-6. Win some others 1-0. Win some others in extra innings.
Two balls and 1 strike. Hit a mile high center field, and the catch is made by Schumacher.
Normally the center fielder's ball. Skip Schumacher having a little conversation with Colby. That ball was hit so high, Schumacher was actually able to get underneath it with plenty of time to spare, so that may be why Colby let him take it.
And the first pitch is a strike. See what Markakis has done. He has extended his hitting streak tonight. Currently the longest in the American League, the longest in baseball, Ryan Braun. And Braun is at 20. Ooh, just missed.
My favorite things about Salas is his ability to mix 3 different pitches: breaking ball, fastball, and changeup.
That's in there for a strike.
Not an eye-popping velocity on the fastball, but typically good location and good movement.
Two, base hit. Brings in Jones. Vladimir Guerrero on deck. Well, the Cardinals have turned 4 double plays here tonight.
Is that a foreshadowing?
I'd love to see number 5. That to be a hard hit ball. Jones runs very well. First pitch taken for a strike.
What you'd really love not to see is the tying run at the plate in the bottom of the 9th.
In the form of Vladimir Guerrero.
I don't want to see that in the form of anybody.
Yeah. 9-6 St. Louis. The 0-1 pitch here from Salas.
Luke Scott a possibility. Home run potential on the bench. I really don't want to see Boog Powell in this situation. What a great Oriole he was.
One ball and 2 strikes. One, 2, hit to second, out there onto first, safe.
As you said, Jones runs very well. You've got to be quick to get this double play. Schumacher, quick shovel. Theriot gets rid of it. Not a lot on that throw. Bang, bang play. Goes the Orioles' way. I thought he was out, but nobody asked me.
So here is Vladimir Guerrero, game extended. The Orioles are down to their final out. First pitch, a strike. Faint chant of "Let's go Cardinals" here in Baltimore. One ball, 1 strike. Now the Oriole fans trying to counter that chant. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Protective swing there.
Behind in the count, Guerrero's going to expand an already huge strike zone.
The 1-2 pitch. Guerrero, chopper too short. Force play at second, and the Cardinals have a sweep here tonight. The Cardinals sweep the Baltimore Orioles. They've won 3 straight, and it's off to Tampa.
It wasn't pretty at moments in this game. Jaime Garcia, not a great start, still picks up his 7th victory of the season. Save goes to Salas. Cardinals have been, well, they've been better this year, but the offense, I'm not sure, has been any better than it was tonight. Lance Berkman, the hero, a couple of home runs for him, and the offense seems to be back on track.
Big night for Berkman. The Cardinals turned 4 double plays this evening. David Freese had a couple of nice stops early on. That's one of the 4 DPs. The story, though, getting to their starter and Lance Berkman. Not once, but twice. An opposite field shot for John Jay. Salas, the final out. 9-6 the final.
Game is over. Cardinals sweeping away the Orioles in Baltimore. Cal Eldred and I here to wrap it all up on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Cal, an ugly game at times, but certainly a win.
Jaime was not sharp for most of the ball game, but the offense was. Give him a lot of credit. Berkman, 2 more homers tonight.
More from Cal coming up. Plus on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, the Redbirds bopping the bats all around Baltimore over the past 2 nights, and they do it again tonight to bust out the brooms in B-Town. Plus, Jaime Garcia on the mound looking for his first win in nearly a month. He's able to clip the wings of the Orioles, sort of. And we'll take you back to Charm City for player reaction, Tony TV as well. Plus, the plays of the month of June. It's the anniversary of the premiere of Gone with the Wind.
Frankly, Pat, I don't give a damn.
Okay, Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live coming up next.